To some, the stock market is just a gamble, but for a rare few, it's a canvas where they paint their vision, their conviction, and their legacy. In 1985, one man walked into the Bombay Stock Exchange with just 5,000 rupees in hand. No godfather, no fancy suit. What he had was belief. Belief in India's potential and in his own fearless decisions. He invested in Titan when others were running scared. He launched Akasa Air when his health was failing. And he built a fortune of over 30,000 crores simply by trusting his vision. This isn't just the story of a stock market genius. This is the story of India's big bull, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, a man who didn't just invest in stocks. He invested in a dream. Hey guys, welcome to another video of Wealth Wizards. In this video, let's break down Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's life story and understand how he created his own legacy in the stock market. Before he became the big bull of Dalal Street, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala was just a curious boy growing up in the crowded streets of Mumbai. Born on July 5, 1960 to a middle-class Rajasthani family, Rakesh was raised with modest means but big dreams. His father, who was an income tax officer, would often discuss the stock market at home. These early dinner table conversations planted the seeds of financial curiosity in young Rakesh. Even as a child, he had a sharp mind and a fearless attitude. While most kids of his age were interested in games, Rakesh found himself drawn towards numbers, charts, and the economic section of newspapers. It wasn't long before he asked his father, "Why do stock prices go up and down?" His father smiled, but offered a strict condition. "I won't give you money to invest, but I will give you permission to learn." That moment became a turning point. By the time he reached college, Rakesh was already following market trends with the focus of a seasoned investor. He went on to become a chartered accountant, not to audit companies but to understand how they make money. But little did anyone know at that time, the quiet boy with thick glasses would one day shake the foundations of India's financial world. It was the summer of 1985. The Bombay Stock Exchange was buzzing with the chaos of ringing phones, chalkboards, and shouting brokers. Somewhere among them walked a young man with sharp eyes and sharper conviction, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, just 25 years old that time, with 5,000 rupees in his pocket and dreams worth 1,000 crores. The Sensex back then, barely 150 points. The Indian economy, still closed, still uncertain. But Rakesh wasn't interested in what was, he was obsessed with what could be. Inspired by his father, who often discussed markets at home, Rakesh had developed an early fascination for stocks. But unlike most armchair investors, he was ready to play the game for real. With 5,000 rupees of his own savings and borrowed funds from friends and family, he stepped into the arena, not to dabble, but to dominate. His first major bet, Tata Tea. He purchased 5,000 shares at 43 rupees each. Most investors saw a commodity stock in Tata Tea. But Rakesh saw a rising demand story in a growing consumer economy. Within 3 months, the stock soared from 43 to 143 rupees. He exited with triple the capital.
And the kind of risks you took early in your career before you struck lucky with Tata Tea, I think it was initially. Tell us about your journey, those turning points.
Well, I think first turning point was at 5,000 rupees, but my brother was a practicing chartered accountant. And he introduced me to some of his clients, and I explained to them, and there was a Christian gentleman who had, who gave me 10 lakhs of rupees, right? And I used to give him 24% interest at that time. So the first way of getting capital was through the introductions and confidence my brother gave to his clients. And therefore I could raise about 15 lakhs of rupees, and I made about 40-50 lakhs of that in 2 years.
It wasn't just a win, it was a message. The markets had taken notice, and so had Rakesh. He wasn't just lucky, he was calculated, fearless, and hungry. This was no ordinary investor. This was the birth of a big bull. Now, every legendary investor has one defining bet. For Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, it was Titan. In the early 2000s, Titan was a struggling company. The market had almost written it off. The stock was hovering around just 3 to 4 rupees per share. Analysts were skeptical, retail investors weren't even looking. But Rakesh saw what others missed: a growing Indian middle class, rising aspirations, and a deep emotional connect with watches and jewelry. While others laughed, he bought, quietly, patiently, and in huge quantities. Over the next 2 decades, Titan transformed into a consumer powerhouse. Its stock didn't just grow, it exploded from 3 rupees to over 2000 rupees a share. And that one bet alone made Rakesh Jhunjhunwala over 10,000 crores. But it wasn't just Titan. Rakesh picked Crisil when it was a boring ratings agency. He backed Lupin and Aurobindo Pharma long before the pharma boom. He invested in NCC, that was a construction firm, when infrastructure wasn't even a hot topic. These weren't random speculations, they were bold, contrarian, deeply researched decisions. While the market chased trends, Rakesh looked for value, for companies with strong fundamentals, ethical management, and scalable business models. And once he believed in a company, he stayed. Through crashes, through corrections, through noise. That patience, that unwavering conviction became his trademark. In a world of fast trades and short-term thinking, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala played the long game and won.
First of all, the stock market is fire, it's आग. क्या बोलते हैं, तेजी में सबका बोलबाला, मंदी में सबका मुंह काला. तो तेजी में सब आ जाते, मंदी में सब भाग जाते. It's not easy. ये बाजार से पैसा कमा के ले जाना. It's very exciting. But remember, it's not the race course. And वो क्या है कि first thing I tell people is खुद कमा के ट्रेड करो, खुद कमा के इन्वेस्ट करो. ससुर का पैसा और बाप के पैसे से मत करो. And see, what is stock market? I think if I get 18% return on my portfolio, I'm a king.
Rakesh Jhunjhunwala wasn't just an investor. He was a force of nature, unpredictable, unstoppable, and unforgettable. His philosophy was a bold fusion, value investing at its core, but with a fearless contrarian twist. While most followed trends, he studied human behavior. Where others saw panic, he saw opportunity.
And then I think the real second turning point was the budget of Mandu Dhanvate. Because there was extreme bearishness in the market. And the biggest players in the market told me that if he abolishes income tax, the index will go to 400 and 460 and back will go to 300. And I knew that, VP Singh was the Prime Minister and he was a man who, abolished estate duty, brought down rates of tax from 90%. So I realized that he will not give a budget which is unfriendly to business. So say in 89 before the budget, my net worth was 2 crores. And I staked it all in the evening, I was worth 20 crores.
Inspired by legends like Radhakishan Damani, Rakesh created a philosophy uniquely his own. Grounded in fundamentals, but never afraid to bet against the crowd. He believed in India's story like no one else. While global investors doubted, Rakesh doubled down. He was bullish in the darkest of times during scams, slowdowns, and crashes. The market is always right. I may be wrong, but the market is never wrong. That wasn't just a quote, it was his truth. His humility in the face of the market made him wiser than most. Known for his sharp tongue, infectious laughter, and larger-than-life persona, he wasn't your typical quiet investor.
This is interesting. We have a couple of questions here on how to balance trading strategies vis-a-vis investment strategies.
See, I'll tell him, have a wife and a girlfriend. Be both happy. Then you'll know how to manage the investment and trading portfolio. I do it. See, what we invest in, we try to predict the earnings on a continuous basis. Trading is de phatapat, le phatapat, de phatapat, le phatapat. Anything which is in fashion you can buy and sell. Because very few make money in trading. Right? And they will say, आप सट्टा करते हैं, हमको मना करते हैं. मैं बोला, पापा बिस्की पीते थे, हमको मना करते. So,
he was fiery, passionate, and brutally honest, both in his interviews and on TV debates. Journalists loved him, retail investors worshipped him. Because Rakesh didn't just invest money, he invested belief. Believe in companies, in people, and above all, in India. In the final chapter of his remarkable journey, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala chose to build, not just invest. With the same conviction he brought to stocks, he turned his gaze to the skies, launching Akasa Air, that was a budget airline with big dreams. It wasn't just a business venture, it was a symbol of vision, risk-taking, and his undying belief in India's growth story. Even as his health declined and he appeared in a wheelchair at public events, his energy was unmistakable. The spark in his eyes, the confidence in his voice, they never dimmed. You have to take the ups and downs in life and in markets, he once said. On August 14, 2022, India lost not just a market wizard, it lost a legend. But nevertheless, his legacy doesn't lie in the crores he amassed. It lies in the countless investors he inspired, in the businesses he backed, and in the faith he had in India's future. He left behind more than wealth. He left behind belief. Belief in patience, in conviction, and in the quite powerful rise of India. So what are the key takeaways from his story? Rakesh Jhunjhunwala didn't just make money, he made history. He proved that true wealth isn't built overnight, but over decades with vision, courage, and conviction. While others chased quick profits, he held tight to his beliefs. When fear ruled the market, he stood tall. For him, the stock market wasn't a casino, it was a canvas, and he painted it with bold strokes of strategy, patience, and deep belief in India. Don't be afraid to dream big, he often said. In the wild jungle of bulls and bears, he was the lion. And for every young investor who dares to believe, his story roars on, louder than ever. Because legends don't die with time, they echo, and they inspire generations to rise. And Rakesh Jhunjhunwala was such a legend, the one and only Big Bull of India. Hey, if you found this story of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala inspiring, do give this video a like. That will help reach more investors like you. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Wealth Wizards for more powerful stories from the world of investing. And let me know in the comment section, what's the one lesson you are taking away from the Big Bull's journey? Also, what would be the next investment success story you would like to see? Share your suggestion in the comments. And I would see you guys in the next video. Till then, bye and happy investing.